Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today we have the SCUF Pro controller under review. These things have been used by pro Call of Duty players for years now, and as well, shamelessly shilled out with their 5% discount codes by YouTubers such as myself for just as long. And in today's video, we're going to be reviewing it with my honest opinions of it. And in short, these things are poorly made pieces of shit, and you shouldn't buy them. So what exactly is a SCUF controller and what it does? On the surface, especially from the front, they look and they feel exactly like OEM factory-made controllers made directly by Sony or Microsoft, depending on what platform you are. The difference is that there are paddles on the back. So on the PlayStation 4 controller, there are 2 paddles. On the Xbox One controller, there are 4 paddles on the back, just because the Xbox One controller has more room for business in the backside. Backside. So what do the back paddles do? So simply, the back paddles are used to mimic some of the face buttons on the front, most notably the ones on the right hand side. So if you're on PlayStation, they can be programmed or factory loaded to behave as the triangle, the square, the X, the circle. If you're on Xbox, it can be the X, B, the A, and the Y button. So you can either have them factory preloaded and permanently set to a specific amount of buttons on the front or specific buttons on the front, or if you spring a little bit extra, you can get something called an EMR tool, which allows you to remap buttons anytime that you want. The reason for this, just in case if you're switching between games and for some reason the reload is a different button on one game compared to the next, same as switching weapons, jumping, and all that kind of stuff, you can adjust the controllers you want to your specific taste with the EMR tool without having to resend the controller back into SCUF again to have them do it for you. So why would you want these paddles on the back that function the same as the buttons on the front? Why not just use the buttons on the front than you normally would with your thumb? And just a little bit of a history lesson for you. So back in the Halo days, the Halo 2 days especially, when Halo 2 was really big on the competitive scene, you found that a lot of the Halo pros, they had this really weird looking adjusted way of holding their controller, which was called the claw. So what the claw was, instead of using your index finger to use as your right trigger, they would use their middle finger. And then instead of having their index finger as the trigger finger, they would dedicate that to just the face buttons. So anytime they needed to reload or switch weapons or melee or jump, it would always be done with the index finger. That way they could always keep their thumb on the joysticks. That way, when they jump, they can always have the ability to aim, and the whole premise is that you never take your thumbs off the joystick. So you always have maximum ability to aim as much as you possibly want, and jump and aim at the same time, and do a bunch of tricks in the air, crouch jump in the air, and all that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like a tactical advantage to have. So you would always have your thumbsticks on the joysticks. So I ordered 2 controllers for my PlayStation 4 early of November last year, and I wanted them to arrive before Christmas as kind of like a Christmas gift to myself. And they did. They arrived right before Christmas, which was a nice thing. But unfortunately, they both broke within a week of using them, which was like absolutely ridiculous. The back right paddle, which I was using the most for my jump, stopped working as well. The right trigger became almost like unresponsive at some point, so it would have like these dead spots where it wouldn't fire. And in a first-person shooter, when your when your trigger button doesn't work, you need to get a new controller. So I thought that I just got really unlucky, and maybe I just got like a really bad batch. So I decided to do is I resent them into SCUF. They actually paid for the return shipping, which was nice. And then they sent me 2 new ones, or repaired the ones that I had. I'm not 100% sure. But I got them back a month later. And at that time, I was kind of burnt out on Destiny, so I didn't really need to use them anymore. And I also thought I didn't want to break them, as bad as it sounds. That should have been like my first instinct. I should have thought to myself, if I'm worried about breaking these controllers while using them, maybe they weren't very good, but it didn't cross my mind. So I went like a year without using them, so they kind of just like sat on my shelf for a while. And then the last DLC for Destiny came out called Rise of Iron, and I really got back into Destiny again, so I thought I would fire up both controllers. So the Destiny Rise of Iron expansion came out on September 20th. It is now November 23rd as I record this video, and as of right now, both of these controllers are just, they don't work anymore. They're junk basically, and I'm over the time of the warranty where I can actually get them to send them back and get them repaired for free. I would actually have to pay for repairs of these $200 controllers, which are basically just paperweights now. I can't even use them. And so once again, the back paddle on the right, which I was using to jump, just intermittently does not work, and the firing of the right trigger is just not as smooth. I really didn't notice it until I swapped back after the jump button stopped working. I swapped back to a regular PlayStation 4 controller, and it was just so much smoother and fired so much more quickly than this controller did. It's just, yeah, it just doesn't work. And now these things are basically just really expensive paperweights. So before I shot this video, I thought to myself, maybe, just maybe, I got super unlucky and I got 2 bad batches of controllers that each controller broke within a month of using them, and I was just a really unlucky person. So I thought to myself, let's go online and research this, and there are literally pages upon pages of subreddits that talk about how poorly these controllers are made, and basically everyone has the exact same problem as me. The right paddle eventually just dies, and some same issues with the triggers. And I actually saw online like an Octic gamer. Octic Gaming is like a pro Call of Duty team, and one like tweeted a picture of his SCUF table where he literally has a table full of broken SCUFs, and I guess it's okay for him because he most likely doesn't have to pay for them, because I think the team is sponsored by SCUF. But for the rest of us, when we pay $200 for a controller, we expect them to last at least a year's worth of use, or at least 6 months. Even like 6 months I would have been happy with, but to break within a month of using them is like totally unacceptable. So what do you do if you're in the market for a pro controller, pro level controller with all these buttons on the back? So if you're on Xbox One, you're actually lucky because Xbox has their own Xbox One Elite controller, which is absolutely fantastic. I've been using this one for about a year now, and it just feels solid in your hands. It has 4 paddles on the back, just like a regular SCUF Xbox One controller does, but these ones are actually removable. You can swap them out. You can use longer ones, you can use shorter ones. You can actually swap out the joysticks, and it feels great in your hands. The triggers feel awesome. The triggers are adjustable as well, depending on how low you want to press it. You can change that, and since it's an official Microsoft product, you can actually reprogram the buttons yourself on a computer. You don't have to spring for the little extra magnet that you place on the back. And overall, I'm really happy with it. I use this Xbox Elite controller anytime I use my Xbox One, or when I'm playing a game on PC. I absolutely love it. Unfortunately though, if you're on PlayStation 4, Sony does not have their direct manufactured pro level controller. There are a couple of them coming out a little bit next year. One's made by Razer, and the other one is made by Nacom, however you want to pronounce it. Unfortunately, these controllers are not made by Sony, even though they are officially licensed. And in my past, I've had a lot of problems with Razer products. I went through 3 death adders before I decided to give up on them. And during the Xbox 360 days, I also went through 2 Razer saber-tooth tigers. And they just, once again, they just broke after a while. So haven't had much luck with Razer controllers in the past, or Razer peripherals. And the Nacom controller, they basically made it look like an Xbox One controller. They went with the staggered thumbsticks. I'm not a huge fan. If I'm playing on PlayStation 4, I want to be playing on a PlayStation 4 controller. So I'm not 100% sure about these products when they do come out. They're basically the only options. I don't even consider this an option anymore, just because why would you pay for this? But most likely when those officially licensed controllers come out from Sony, I'll probably pick them up, and then I'll do a review for you guys as well. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for my review of the SCUF controller. Another reason why I wanted to make this review is I know that we're fast approaching the holiday season, and these things are expensive. They are a big ticket item at $200 each a piece. And you guys see all the professional Call of Duty players use them, and you have YouTubers such as myself shilling them to you guys. So with this 5% discount coupon or discount code that most likely is shared, or maybe they get all of it. I'm not 100% sure if they get all of it or not. I'm not privy to this information. But I think I'm almost like concerned about how these things are being sold. Especially, I don't know, if you actually got a chance to use this controller, and most likely it's gonna break based on reviews, how can you consciously sell this to your audience? I'm almost a little bit like disgusted that YouTubers could actually still promote this like without a second thought. It blows my mind. So I wanted to make sure that you guys were as informed as possible. I could think nothing worse than, like, if you're a young person, you don't have enough money to purchase one on your own, you ask for one for Christmas as your big Christmas gift to yourself, or from your parents, your guardians, your grandparents, and for it to break within a month of using it would just be completely disheartening, and I would just hate to see that happen. So if you're thinking about getting one of these, I would strongly advise against it, but at the same time, it's your decision, and just kind of like buyer beware at this point. But yeah, that's my honest opinions. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, as depressing as it may be. If you enjoyed, as always, drop the video a quick thumbs up, and I shall see you guys next time for my next product review.